that wind is strong again today. Hey everybody, Yogi here. Just heading out to do some road tripping. Don't know what we're gonna come across in our little road trip, but we're gonna find something. So, buckle up and join me. It may not look like it through that camera, boy, but it is windy. I mean, this car is just struggling right now. Wow. Today's not a good day, folks, to be texting and driving. Alright, so I've made it to my first little stop here today. I'm in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. I'm hoping the wind doesn't play too much a factor in this particular episode, but I'm at the Menominee Falls Old Falls Village, and it's not open right now. It's a local history museum. They have a pretty neat caboose here. I mean, some people have walked up on it since the snow has fallen, so let's take a look if we can see inside of it. I don't know. I don't want to kill myself, but we'll try. Oh, all right. So we got, I don't know if you can see inside there. I'm going to try to point it inside. That's what inside a caboose looks like. You probably can't see very well in there. Got the nice little wheel. You know, they don't really do much as far as cabooses go anymore. Pretty much thing of the past as far as trains go. Okay, getting down's gonna be fun. Ah! The snow's hard. And it's on some railroad track. It says here, Railway Express Agency behind me. And there it says visitor information on the caboose. And you can take a peek inside. There's all sorts of interesting things on railroads, and I'm guessing this is a store of sorts as well. Kind of frozen in time. Got a nice little patio out here. My guess is they probably have tables and stuff out here. I don't know. They hold events, maybe. I don't know much about this place. I just came across it driving. I've driven by it before, but I really haven't stopped and taken a look. Yeah, this is the old, either it is the old depot or it's a recreation of the depot. I'm assuming it's the original. Kind of looking at the floorboards in there, and they look pretty old. Again, you can make anything look kind of period type, or period time. There's a picture of, that almost looks like Geronimo there, but I don't think that's Geronimo. I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is. I can't see a name or anything. So, Depot Beer Garden. So that must be what goes on the back there. And it says weather permitting. This is last year's schedule. Whether they even had it, don't know. But they'd have music out here, live music. Ooh, neat little scale. Detroit Automatic Scale Company, Detroit, Michigan. Milwaukee Road Depot, built in 1890, the same year that the railroad came to Menominee Falls. The depot brought with it new commercial and industrial prosperity. You've got your upside down stop sign. So where I am right now, this used to be called Northridge Mall. It was a huge, there's two malls, Northridge and Southridge. Southridge still exists. Don't know as far as how it's doing capacity wise, if it's still, you know, thriving, if all the shops are full there. That's down in Greendale on the other side of Milwaukee. This one up here is in It's the northwest part of Milwaukee. It's around 76th and Brown Deer Road. That used to be a Toys R Us building. Now, the thing that's interesting about this area here, back in 1991, I started going out with the woman who is now my wife, and she actually lived right around here, and this area was booming. The mall was booming. There were shops all over the outside perimeter of the mall, and straight ahead, that is what used to be Northridge Mall. People have gotten into that building and filmed it. I think the proper people, they filmed this, the inside of the mall, but this was once a thriving mall. It seemed to me, in my opinion, now this is my opinion only, that one event kind of set the tone for everything that followed. This used to be, I believe, Boston store. Boston store doesn't even exist anymore. You know, that's the crazy thing. This Menards went up after the mall closed. The Menards is still in existence. So there's one of the entrances right there, straight ahead. I mean, it's posted no trespassing and stuff, but that hasn't stopped people from getting in there. I believe a zombie movie was actually filmed in there. A low to no budget zombie film. I remember Foot Locker used to have their corporate headquarters in that building straight ahead. To be a Walgreens, that's no longer around. A Pick and Save was built on this site right on the other side of Menards, and they left. They're no longer here either. On the other side of Brown Deer Road, there's a Walmart that was built as, you know, 2005 maybe, something like that. It wasn't a long time ago. That building lasted about Walmart lasted about 10 years there. They left. One event though kind of looked like it, in my opinion, triggered this whole thing to happen, and we're going to talk about it in a second. Now, this building here that the camera's pointed at used to be a Chinese restaurant. It is now a funeral home. But before that, it was a TGI Fridays. I'm pretty positive this was the location of the TGI Fridays. Now, back in 1992, this place was thriving. You know, that Toys R Us I showed you guys, that was open. Everything was open around here. Northridge Mall was in pretty good shape yet. That seemed to change after April 21st, 1992, when a gentleman by the name of Jesse Anderson and his wife, Barbara, went to see a movie and then ate afterwards here at the TGI Fridays. Well, as they left the restaurants, Jesse claimed they were attacked by two African-American men. Jesse was stabbed 4 times in the chest, and Barbara was stabbed 5 times in the face and head. Barbara died of her wounds a couple days later. I think it was like 2 days later. She went into a coma, actually. Jesse's wounds were superficial. Now, again, Anderson said 2 African-American men did it. He presented police with the Los Angeles Clippers basketball cap. When details of this crime were actually made public, a university student told police that Anderson had purchased the hat from him a few days earlier, and according to employees at a military surplus store, the red-handed fishing knife that was used to murder Barbara was sold to Anderson a few weeks earlier. So on April 29th, now this is 8 days after the murder, he was charged with the murder, and on August 13th of that year, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Now, the interesting thing that happened to Jesse Anderson at the end of his life, he was imprisoned at the Columbia Correctional Institution, and that's where serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was also a inmate there. And on November 28th, 1994, Jeffrey Dahmer and Anderson were both left unattended while cleaning a restroom at the prison, and a fellow inmate by the name of Christopher Scarver ended up attacking the both of them with a steel bar. He ended up striking Dahmer in the head, and then he tracked down Anderson and bludgeoned him as well. Dahmer was declared dead about 1 hour after the attack, and Anderson died 2 days later. So yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this place was pretty thriving and booming until that incident happened. After that incident happened, it's like the area took on a different aura. Buildings started closing down. Eventually, Northridge Mall closed down. And I mean, there's stuff in these buildings right now, but this area is a shell of its former self from what I remember it back when I first started dating my wife. That water looks beautiful, doesn't it? Considering how cold it is. Right over that way is Milwaukee. I don't know if you can see the two tall buildings right there, but right down there, down that way about, I don't know, 5-6 miles is the city of Milwaukee. I am in Fox Point, Wisconsin right now. When I was growing up, there was talk about this place in Fox Point, Wisconsin, where rumor has it, or lore has it, that there was a lady who had a husband and a son, and they lived right on Lake Michigan, and they went out one day to do some fishing, and apparently the boat capsized and both of them drowned. So when that happened, apparently the lady was so stricken with grief that she started contacting the others, trying to contact the other side to get her son and husband back. So as we walk up here, now the interesting thing is, that is lore. That never really happened. This home was called the witch's house forever. And people would come down here and they'd be like freaked out. They thought the lady that owned this place was a witch. Now, she wasn't a witch. Her name was Mary Knoll, and she was an artist. And over here, what I'm about to show you is where she used to live. And it's just a yard full of sculptures is what it is. But everybody thought it was called the witch's house and that she was a witch. But if I turn as I turn the camera, it's just architect. It's art. She was a sculptor, and she used to do all sorts of art. As you can see now, obviously you're not allowed to go in there. There's no trespassing, but there's all these very cool artworks that she had on the property. And no, she was not a witch. No, her husband and son did not perish in a boating accident on the lake. But she was an artist, and misunderstood at that, because people used to come here thinking there was a witch that lived here when there was no such witch. She was an artist named Mary Knoll. Back when all this was happening, you know, the Fox Point is a very upper class section of Milwaukee County. And back in the 80s, when people would come here every weekend, it became a nuisance, and the people that lived here were not happy at all. Cops had to be down here all the time telling people to move along, move on. And as I was filming back there, a couple cars pulled up and were kind of looking at me like, oh boy, here comes another one. But you know, it's a story that, you know, needed to be told, and so I'm gonna tell it. I actually haven't been down to that house in probably 30 years, since the 80s, so surprisingly remembered where it was as I was driving around. But Mary Knoll, actually, she passed away, and I don't know if the house is now a museum, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go online and do some research, but I don't know if it's been if somebody else has bought the property, or because the statues are still there, so I'm assuming that she maybe donated the property to a college or something like that to keep everything there. I think that's going to do it for this episode, folks. I appreciate each and every one of you who has subscribed to my channel so far. Please share it, like it, subscribe if you haven't already and you enjoy the content that I'm putting out. Don't forget, you can also go to www.patreon.com/roadtripswithyogi and consider supporting this channel by making a small monthly donation. I always mess that up. a small monthly donation. You know, you can get some access behind the scenes, some bonus footage. I'm planning on doing live streams once that particular site grows. I do think who have donated to Patreon so far. Basically, what I want to do with the Patreon is be able to do more road trips, go farther than pretty much stay in Wisconsin. And that's pretty much what the Patreon page is going to be for. Helping me film bigger and better things, you know. So that's coming down the pike as well. Other than that, folks, that's about it for this episode of Road Trips with Yogi. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you who have watched my videos, commented on my videos. Please feel free. If you know of places in Wisconsin you'd like to see me check out, or anywhere else for that matter, you know, I think a road trip's going to be due to check out more than Wisconsin has to offer. Wisconsin has a lot to offer, don't get me wrong, but I want to branch out and check out other things. Not necessarily the same things people do. Like when I'm going to Florida this trip, I'm not going to Disney World, so don't expect Disney videos. Too many people do that stuff already. I'm not planning on going to Universal Studios. I mean, I might do City Walk. I don't plan on going to Disney Springs. That could change, who knows. But I want to hit the areas that people don't always hit. I mean, there's just so many people doing Disney. I mean, been there, done that. So that's not in my plans for this Florida trip to go to Disney or Universal. But you never know. So until the next episode, folks, thank you again for hanging out with me. And until the next one, I am out of here.